What happens when the window of an NFL dynasty threatens to shatter, literally before it even truly opens? Everything changed for the Chicago Bears in a matter of seconds. We are looking at a franchise standing on the absolute razor's edge right now. Just think about the gravity of that for a moment. An entire front office, an entire city, resting all of their hopes, all of their dreams, on the fragile anatomy of 20-something athletes. Look, this isn't just about X's and O's anymore. We're way past that. This is about the brutal, unforgiving, physical, and financial realities of building a championship roster in the modern NFL. And honestly, it's about the terrifying speed at which it can all just fall apart.
Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we're diving deep into a cinematic explainer of the Chicago Bears' breaking point. The stakes have absolutely never been higher, and the margin for error? Well, it's completely vanished. We're going to look at the highly granular details that no one else is talking about. We're talking the exact biomechanics of a receiver's foot, the literal millimeter shifts required in a quarterback's pocket presence, and this looming financial tsunami that could tear a meticulously constructed team right down to its studs. So let's dive into this, because I'm telling you, the reality in Chicago right now is far, far more tense than anyone inside Halas Hall wants to publicly admit.
Section 1. A New Normal.
So the foundational 2024 draft class was supposed to be the bedrock of the next great Chicago era. The formula seems simple, right? You draft a generational quarterback, you pair him with an elite top 10 wide receiver. It's the perfect foolproof blueprint. But we are currently witnessing a massive, honestly alarming divergence in the realities of these two foundational players. Let's start with Rome Odunze. The number 9 overall pick suffered a stress fracture in his left foot. And I want you to listen very closely to what he told reporters heading into this pivotal year 3. He literally said, "This is my new normal. The way my foot broke, there's calluses in there that create a different type of foot structure with those bones, different types of things that kind of shift things around." I really need you to let that sink in for a second. We aren't talking about a sprained ankle. We aren't talking about a tweaked hamstring that just needs a little ice and some rehab. We are talking about the fundamental anatomical structure of an elite athlete's foot permanently changing. Permanently. Every single time he plants that foot into the turf, generating hundreds of pounds of force to make a sharp cut, those newly formed calluses are grinding against the bone. Think about the physics of that. When you run a 4.4 40-yard dash, when your entire livelihood, your entire multi-million-dollar career depends on exploding off the line of scrimmage, cutting on an absolute dime, and decelerating instantly. A millimeter shift in your bone structure isn't just a minor inconvenience. It is a catastrophic hurdle. It's a hurdle that forces the human body to completely relearn how to absorb impact from the ground up.
And unfortunately, we've already seen the immediate chilling impact of this on the field. Before this injury, Odunze was Caleb Williams' undisputed #1 receiver. Their chemistry was electric, it was undeniable. But just look at the numbers on your screen right now. 661 yards, 44 receptions, 6 touchdowns. Now, if you actually sit down and watch the coach's film, the All-22, you can actually see the hesitation. It's subtle, but it's there. The explosion off the line of scrimmage is dulled. Because of that structural change in his foot, Odunze didn't just lose a step, he lost his rightful place in the hierarchy of this offense. The Bears actually had to reroute their entire offensive DNA through the tight end position just to compensate for what they were missing on the outside. Odunze ended up falling to 3rd in receiving on the team. He was surpassed by tight end Colston Loveland, who, if you watch the games, visually just took over the entire middle of the field, all while Odunze visibly struggled to gain that same effortless separation on the perimeter that made him a top 10 pick. When your highly drafted wideout is getting outproduced by a tight end, purely because he physically cannot plant his foot the same way, the entire dynamic of your offense shifts. The overwhelming pressure you're supposed to put on the outside completely evaporates, allowing defenses to compress the field.
In the pressure on Odunze, it's only compounding, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. DJ Moore, the veteran anchor of that receiver room, was traded to the Buffalo Bills this offseason. Now, on paper, if you're just looking at a depth chart, that should have been Odunze's golden ticket, right? His chance to permanently claim that WR1 spot and never look back. But enter Luther Burden III. Burden just came off a phenomenal rookie season. He is incredibly hungry. He is incredibly explosive. He plays with this violent, sudden twitchiness that just leaps off the screen. And crucially, most importantly, he doesn't have a reconstructed, calloused foot. ESPN's Courtney Cronin specifically named Rome Odunze as one of 5 players in the entire league with the absolute most at stake in training camp this summer. And this right here is exactly what she meant by survival. Odunze isn't just fighting for his share of targets anymore. He is fighting for his literal survival as the alpha in this receiver room against a younger player who is operating at 100% physical capacity. It's a brutal reality. If Luther Burden III usurps him, if Burden becomes the ultimate safety blanket for Caleb Williams, the entire narrative of Odunze's career changes. It permanently shifts from franchise cornerstone to rotational piece. And in the NFL, that is a devastating fall from grace.
Section 2. The Quarterback's Leap.
But while Odunze's out there battling his own biology, the other half of that heralded 2024 draft class is facing a completely different kind of crucible. We absolutely have to shift our focus to the quarterback. Caleb Williams is entering a pivotal year 3, and the expectations around him are no longer just about potential or flashy arm talent. They are about execution. They are about absolute ruthless dominance. Former NFL quarterback Matt Hasselbeck used to openly and heavily criticize Caleb Williams' erratic play during his rookie year. But now, listen to this stunning reversal from a guy who knows exactly what it takes to play the position. Hasselbeck said he was the most improved quarterback in the NFL last year. His jump from year 1 to year 2 was incredible. The job that Ben Johnson did with him is remarkable. Guys, this is a massive shift in the narrative. Williams is now being ranked as a legitimate top 10 quarterback by executives and scouts inside the league. But to truly understand why this monumental leap actually happened, we cannot just look at the highlight reel throws on social media. We have to look at the microscopic, unglamorous details of his game that he and Ben Johnson completely overhauled behind closed doors. Just look at the sheer, undeniable scale of the turnaround represented here on your screen. In year 1, Caleb Williams was out there running for his absolute life. He took a staggering league-leading 68 sacks. 68! He allowed 17 pressures entirely on his own doing. He was holding the ball way too long, constantly trying to play hero ball, drifting backward into danger, and essentially running himself into brick walls. Enter offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Priority number 1 for Johnson was literally rewiring the quarterback's brain. And look at the result in year 2. Just 24 sacks. 24. That represents an elite level of sack evasion, and here is the crazy part. It didn't come from scrambling around like a madman. It came from processing. The microscopic details of Williams' footwork completely changed. Under Johnson, he learned to climb the pocket by mere millimeters, stepping up into the quiet areas rather than constantly bailing out the back door and giving edge rushers an easy angle. He developed a highly accelerated internal clock that is now processing insanely complex defensive coverages in fractions of a second. He finally stopped trying to win the Super Bowl on every single regular season snap, and instead, he learned how to simply survive the down.
And here is the beautiful thing. That refined, disciplined pocket presence, it actually unlocked his ultimate weapon. In his rookie year, Williams was notoriously erratic downfield. He had a measly 31.1% completion rate on passes of 20-plus air yards. Just 5 touchdowns to 4 interceptions on those deep shots. He was constantly forcing throws off his back foot because he was always under self-imposed pressure. But look at last season. A 42.4% completion rate on those exact same throws. He literally doubled his deep ball touchdowns to 10, and he slashed his interceptions down to just 2. This perfectly, brilliantly illustrates a quarterback who has finally aligned his lower body mechanics with his generational arm talent. Because he isn't drifting away from pressure in a panic anymore, he can step firmly and confidently into his throws. This creates a much tighter spiral, significantly higher velocity, and that perfect dropping arc that receivers dream of. When you combine that improved, millimeter-perfect pass protection with a quarterback who can hit the deep third of the field at a 42% clip, you essentially have a waking nightmare for defensive coordinators, because you literally cannot mathematically defend every blade of grass on the field.
But of course, there is a very loud, very stubborn segment of NFL fans who completely refuse to see this reality. They point to one singular superficial stat, his 58.1% overall completion percentage. They scream from the rooftops that it ranks dead last among 26 quarterbacks with over 300 pass attempts. So let's dismantle this myth right here, right now, detail by agonizing detail. Because that 58.1%, it is a total mirage. Why? Because Caleb Williams led the entire National Football League with 42 throwaways. Think about what that means. When the primary read was covered, when the secondary read was covered, instead of forcing a catastrophic interception or taking a drive-killing sack, he purposely killed the play by throwing the ball into the 8th row of the stands to avoid negative yardage. That isn't a bad completion percentage, that is high-level veteran winning quarterbacking. Furthermore, if you dig into Warren Sharp's data, it proves the Bears had the 3rd highest receiver error rate, causing incompletions in the entire league. It wasn't just on Caleb being inaccurate, it was blatant drop passes, it was receivers rounding off their routes, and it was completely botched miscommunications at the line of scrimmage. And here is the absolute most crucial metric of all. When operating inside the structure of the pocket, Williams was 7th in the NFL in EPA, expected points added per play. Let me explain why that specific metric matters so much. EPA measures the true mathematical value of a play based on the down, the distance, and the field position.
Being 7th in the NFL in EPA inside the pocket means that when the play went exactly as Ben Johnson drew it up on the whiteboard, Caleb Williams was an elite, surgical executor of the offense. Ironically, he was actually worse when forced into those chaotic backyard scramble drills he used to be known for. He is mastering the system, he is playing the position exactly how it is mathematically and theoretically meant to be played at the highest possible level.
Section 3. The elite traits. So when you actually look past those lazy superficial stats and you critically examine the underlying metrics we just broke down, a truly terrifying picture begins to emerge for the rest of the NFC. Caleb Williams isn't just improving. He is actively cementing the core characteristics that define an untouchable, decade-long franchise centerpiece. Matt Hasselbeck breaks this down into 3 immovable pillars of quarterback play. First pillar, availability. Williams has started all 34 regular season games for the Bears since he was drafted. In a brutally violent league where franchise quarterbacks are dropping like flies on a weekly basis to season-ending injuries, his durability is arguably his single best ability. Second pillar, ball safety. He threw only 13 interceptions over that entire 2-year span. His 1.2% interception rate last year actually led the entire NFL among quarterbacks with at least 300 attempts. Hasselbeck actually compared this specific trait to prime Aaron Rodgers. I want you to think about the immense, suffocating psychological toll that takes on an opposing defense. When you line up on Sunday, knowing the opposing quarterback will simply never make a careless mistake, that he will never give your offense a free possession on a silver platter, it is utterly demoralizing. And then there's the third pillar, the most elusive, mysterious trait in all of professional sports, the clutch ability, the unteachable gene.
6. I want you to look at that number and burn it into your memory. 6 fourth-quarter comebacks, 6 game-winning drives, and that was just last season alone. You know, a coach can script the first 15 plays of a game perfectly in a quiet meeting room on a Wednesday. You can practice your 7-on-7 drills in May until the artificial turf completely wears out. But I want you to picture this real game scenario. There are 2 minutes and 12 seconds left on the stadium clock. You are down by 4 points. The stadium crowd is so incredibly deafening that your offensive lineman literally cannot hear the snap count. Your right tackle is exhausted, he's beat up, he's bleeding. The opposing defense is pinning your ears back, sending a zero blitz, all-out pressure package right at your face. The entire season is literally on the line in this one drive. In that hyper-compressed, suffocating, terrifying moment, you either have the gene or you don't. You can't coach it, you can't learn it. Caleb Williams has it. He is absolutely stone cold when the walls start to close in around him. He doesn't panic, he processes the chaotic information in front of him, and he delivers the football.
Section 4. The franchise stakes.
So the crucial takeaway here is this. The Chicago Bears have finally found their apex predator at the quarterback position. They have a brilliant, innovative offensive mind calling the plays in Ben Johnson. They have a young, aggressive, highly talented receiving core. But this is the National Football League. And in this league, individual on-field greatness eventually, inevitably, collides with the cold, hard, unforgiving economics of running a franchise. This macro level is where this story gets truly dark. There is a ticking clock echoing loudly through the halls of Hallis Hall right now. Rome Odunze, who is out there every day fighting through the incredibly painful structural changes in his foot, fighting off the rising, 100% healthy tide of Luther Burden III, is heading straight toward a massive financial precipice. After this season, Odunze is eligible for a contract extension. Simultaneously, the Bears also have to make a legally binding decision on his 5th-year option for the 2027 offseason. And you need to understand, the 5th-year option means fully guaranteed money. Why is that such a brutal, terrifying deadline for a general manager? Because giving fully guaranteed, front-loaded money to a player with a fundamentally altered foot structure is an immense, almost unprecedented front office gamble. Every single route Rome Odunze runs in training camp, every agonizing, forceful step he takes on that calloused bone is quite literally a fight for his financial future. The production he manages to scrape together this season will solely dictate whether he gets a legacy-defining multi-million-dollar contract that secures his family's future, or if he becomes a tragic, forgotten cautionary tale of bad timing and bad biology.
Because the brittle reality of the salary cap is staring the Chicago front office right in the face as we speak. To quote the insider reports circulating around the league right now, Chicago cannot keep everyone when Williams signs his mega quarterback deal. Do you see the trap they're in? The better Caleb Williams plays, the more astronomical, the more historic his price tag becomes. We are talking about a contract extension that could completely reset and reshape the entire quarterback market. And when a single quarterback takes up a massive quarter of your entire team's salary cap space, you have absolutely no choice but to start shedding weight elsewhere. It's simple math. The Bears have a plethora of riches at tight end and receiver right now, but the day of reckoning is coming rapidly. They will be forced to dismantle their own carefully drafted, heavily invested core just to afford keeping the quarterback in the building. The window for a championship in the NFL is incredibly, terrifyingly fragile. So the questions remain. Will Rome Odozenza survive the purge? Or will he just be another cap casualty? Will this offense ever actually reach its absolute zenith, its full potential, before the salary cap tears it apart from the inside out? The tension in Chicago right now is entirely unresolved, and the stakes could not possibly be higher.
Look, this isn't over yet. The decisions made in the next 12 months will undoubtedly alter the history of the Chicago Bears forever. To make sure you never miss a single beat of this unfolding drama, you need to be part of the NFL Nexus. Subscribe to the channel right now. Like this video to tell the algorithm you want more deep, cinematic explainers exactly like this one. Get down in the comments and let us know your thoughts. Who do you genuinely think wins the WR1 battle? Is it the hobbled, veteran-savvy Odunze or the explosive, fully healthy Burton? We want to hear your take. And if you truly want to support the deep dive research that goes into uncovering these tiny millimeter details, support the channel by becoming a channel member today. The NFL never sleeps, and neither do we. Stay focused, and we'll see you next time in the Nexus.